Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of NC-17. My name is Josh. Today with me we have actor and producer Matt Burns. How you doing today?
Hey, what's going on, Josh? Thanks for having me on, man. Really appreciate it.
Oh yeah, no problem, no problem. Uh so before we get into your movies and stuff, you want to give a little bit of background of like how you got into the industry and stuff?
Yeah, well, I was in high, I've always been into horror and like punk music and metal music, thanks to my dad growing up and whatnot. So I used to go to like a lot of they used to have they used to have like all ages clubs and whatnot that we used to do a lot of that kind of thing with. So yeah, I got started playing in bands and whatnot, and then started booking shows and whatnot, and then through that I wound up meeting a lot of the more horror based bands, and that's when I was like, this is really cool. And then one day I was getting off work. I was at a Food Lion grocery store, and I took off. I had my work shirt. It was like a button up work shirt, and I took it off, and I had a Plan 9 from Outer Space T-shirt. You remember the old Ed Wood movie, of course.
Oh yeah.
And this old man comes up to me and he's like, "Hey kid, nice shirt." He's like, "You like Ed Wood or whatever?" And this old guy starts talking to me, and I'm like, "Yeah, that's cool." I was like, "Man, this old guy knows movies. Does he need money for the bus or something? Why is he talking to me about this crap?" Yeah, I didn't understand, what he was. And then he stuck out his hand. "Nice to meet you, champ. I'm Conrad Brooks." And for anybody who doesn't know that name, Conrad was actually an actor in a lot of those movies. He was Jamie the cop in Plan 9 and was in Glen or Glenda. And so I didn't believe him. I was like, "No, you're not." I was like, "Dude, you're delusional, whatever." He's like, "No, no, no, kid, no, no, kid, come here." Come here, check this out. I was like, "Oh God, what have I done?" I'm just shaking my head like. So this old dude takes me to his car, and he pops the trunk, and there's all his merchandise. He's got like all of his movies, like pictures of him and Bela Lugosi, and like pictures of him and Johnny Depp. I'm like, "You got to be kidding." I'm like, "What are you doing here in small town West Virginia?" And he said, "I live here." He lived like not even a mile from that grocery store, so we wound up becoming friends, and I wound up doing a movie with him and everything, and it wound and it was a lot of fun. But I kind of went back to the music business after that. I was like, okay, but then started meeting up with other guys. The music scene started petering out around here, so I was like, okay, I'm kind of looking for something different to do. I've been doing this for like 10, 15 years now. I need something, something different. And I started meeting other guys that were into this stuff and started trying to do my own horror conventions, and that's where it came from, basically.
Oh yeah. Uh so music, you say you played for about what, 15 years you said?
Well, I was mostly a promoter. I mostly booked the shows and promoted bands and whatnot. Yeah, I did that for about 15 years.
All right. Any big name bands we might know or
Well, the one band I managed, they were called Pain with an exclamation point. We opened for a lot of the big bands. We opened for like the Misfits and Black Veil Brides and Mushroom Head, like a lot of those. We opened for a lot of those type of bands or whatever. I mean, 69 Eyes, Wednesday 13, a lot of cool bands. So yeah, we did a lot of stuff through them, and I also booked bands like Green Jello and the Coffin Cats. I mean, it was pretty cool. But unfortunately, the music scene. But I mean, now it's starting to come back around again, thankfully. And now they got a lot of younger guys that are doing it now. And I think the shows now with COVID's. I think people took it for granted. Then when COVID happened, people started coming back out to shows again after that. It seemed like.
oh yeah. Uh so let's go to, I would say, maybe your first filming project. You want to take us to like through that and how that was and what it was?
Well, the first project I did was with Conrad. It was a movie called Gypsy Vampire: The Final Bloodlust, which was the fourth installment of the Gypsy Vampire series. Conrad liked to do multiple things. They like to do multiple parts of series, and he and the lead actor wound up kind of I think he was already tired of it or whatever. I mean, after four movies you would be, I guess, especially if they're not really getting the publicity and getting the notoriety that you would like. So yeah, and then I was like his henchman, and I played a zombie who talked, so, which was really interesting. I mean, yeah, Conrad had an interesting way of doing things. But yeah, but it was a lot of fun, and I mean, it was really cool to see somebody put together a movie like that, because I used to always think that you had to have like these big cameras and these big budgets and I mean, you don't know. And I'm like, wow, this is really interesting. I'd like to. And then a few years later, I met a guy named Dusty Fleischman. Now I worked with him on some movies, and we were all kind of getting started or whatever. And I mean, and like I said, yeah, and it was really cool to to see stuff like that. I didn't really start working with like major people, I guess, until about 5, 6 years ago. Bloody Summer Camp. I got to work with, thanks to Dave Kerr and Michael McGlynn, I got to work with Melissa Rose and Dave Sheridan from which was really a cool experience. And like I said, but yeah, we just started recently putting people who were in the major mainstream movies into this, but yeah, it's always a lot of fun. I always tell people, it's a lot of work. I mean, because I think a lot of people think you just pick up a camera and do it. It's not that easy. I mean, it's just there's a lot to it. And that's why I think a lot of people give up either during their first movie or afterwards because they don't realize how much work it takes even to make something very small and low budget. It's a lot of work. So
Oh yeah. Uh, let's talk about Remnant. Sorry, the
remnants.
remnants.
Yeah.
Sorry, sorry.
Yeah, it's all
Been
good.
a long
That
day.
that was uh, that was a project we did a few years ago with actually a guy who I met on Conrad's set, Mark Byrne. Mark and I have done like about 5, 6 movies together now. We've done everything from comedy to crime to horror, and because Mark likes to mix up his genres. He doesn't like to do one genre every time. Now he just did a horror movie called Blood and Breakfast, which is a recent one that we just did. Has Nancy Ann Ritter from Scream and Beatrice Bufflay from Nightmare on Elm Street and Jim Crush from Dawn of the Dead. Who Jim was also the lead in Remnants. And Remnants was a fun project. It was a different. I mean, Mark writes all of his own stuff too. So I mean, so it was really interesting to the story that he came up with about how people are like kind of people like get trapped in it, which I've heard that theory before. That like when you die, your body like kind of remains, your spirit or whatever remains there. And I think that was the point he was going for there. And then we had and then of course we wanted to add something. We wanted to shake it up a little bit, so we added the killer clown, Kilroy or whatever, and he was a lot of fun. Jeremy Amos did a really good job with that character. He did a fantastic job. I thought he really brought that character to life. But yeah, we had some really cool locations for that too. We got to use our friend's inn, which is right downtown Gettysburg, Pennsylvania, which is the place for paranormal activity. It seems like, and
Yeah,
I mean, we had that really cool basement location that was in the bottom of that at that apple packing factory that now is like School of Rock. Now it's actually like a rock school. So that my friend Butch owns. It was really cool. So yeah, man. So we were really blessed on that one for locations. And yeah, we know it's different. It's definitely a different take on the paranormal stuff. But we just didn't want to have a bunch of people walking around. You know what I mean? Because it seems like that's a lot of what paranormal movies are. They're just kind of walking around and
oh
doing
yeah,
stuff. We kind of wanted to add some action to it.
oh yeah. Speaking of the clown, the scene where I don't want to ruin it for people who haven't seen it.
The hammer and the head scene. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah, that
Yeah, the
was
one where
probably
we'll spoil this one. He kills me. We'll just put it that way. But nobody knows. Yeah, we'll just say that.
that was probably one of the raddest scenes in the entire movie.
Oh yeah, yeah. The gore. Well, he and his brother, Jeremy and his brother Matthew, do gore. Or I mean, they've kind of taken a step back from the business. But they did a really good job. It's a shame that they couldn't catch on anywhere. But unfortunately with effects, it's so hard to break into the industry. It seems like with that. But yeah, they did a fantastic job with that with that hammer scene. Fantastic.
Oh yeah. Uh, so let's talk about Shriek Show.
Okay,
Uh,
I wasn't really a part of that one. I was kind of more on the production side of that one, but it was a cool flick.
uh, I would say because I talked to Rick Germain yesterday. I would say
I'm so sorry to hear that. By the way, no, I'm just kidding. Rick, yeah, guys. I mean, me and him like to we tease each other.
oh yeah, oh no, it's all good.
We bust on each other a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. I would say that movie would definitely, if you had a Fair of Clowns, would definitely heighten that a lot more.
Oh yeah, yeah, for sure.
Uh,
That was a really cool flick. I mean, Brad and his crew did a really cool job with that one.
oh yeah. You said you were more of a producer. Do you prefer to be producer or acting? Which one do you prefer more?
Depends on the movie, depends on the role. I mean, now sometimes if I got a really cool role, obviously you want to be able to act that out and put your own spin on it or whatever. But I mean, I like the producing part. I like being able to put it together. I guess that I've always been kind of like that because I like to put like when I was booking rock bands, yeah, I like to put I was like, oh, this band would be cool with this band and this band. You like to put it together. You know what I'm saying? And that's where I think that and like same with booking horror conventions, like, oh, I'd like to have this guest and that guest or whatever, and these vendors vendors and whatnot. It's almost like it's like a puzzle. It's like putting together a puzzle, which is
Yeah.
really cool. So yeah, I think that's I mean I'll be honest. I think I maybe like more being more on the production side. I mean, unless I got a really good role, unless I got a really cool role.
All right. Speaking of conventions, you run one.
Well,
Uh,
I help run one.
what?
I co-manage and I'm the talent booker of Carolina Fear Fest in Raleigh, North Carolina, which is coming up in Memorial Day weekend in Raleigh at the North Carolina State Fairgrounds.
Any big time guests going to be there?
Oh yeah, we got Malcolm McDowell who was in A Clockwork Orange and a lot of cool, a lot of great. I mean, he was. Oh my god, we'd be here all day. We'd have to have our own podcast listing all his movies. I think he's got like 300 IMDb credits. Him and well,
Uh,
the other one too. We got Bill Mosley, which is another cool guest. We've got let's see. I'm trying to think of the ones we've announced. I can't say the ones we haven't announced because we have a few we haven't announced yet. We have Samantha Mathis from The Strain. William Cott, who was in House and Carrie, and of course was the greatest American hero. Everybody remembers that theme song. Trying to think. I'm trying to figure out. We got. Actually, here I'll give you a little teaser right now. We're not announcing this guy until Friday, but Tyler Labine from Tucker and Dale versus Evil, and was in a few other things, and his brother Kyle, who was in Freddy versus Jason, and a few things. So yeah, I mean, we got some really cool people coming this year, and like I said, we got some more coming down the line too. So
uh, let's talk about Bloody Summer Camp. You play James Skunk Mitchell.
yeah.
Uh, Walk us through how that movie went and like what was your best takeaways from that movie?
Oh, it was a lot of fun. It was so much fun. I mean, it was fun to play that character, being like the drug dealer and whatnot, trying to spoil anything. But I mean, well, that movie's been out for a while, so I don't think we're really spoiling it at this point. It's been out for a few years, so I mean, because anybody can watch, people can watch that on Tubi or Prime or anywhere. But yeah, working with Dave was a blast. It's funny because we were shooting that during the lockdown, and he was spitting all over me, which was probably yeah. And then I also have a scene in the uncut version, which is not on streaming, but there's also a director's cut with I have a scene with Felissa Rose, and which was really fun to shoot. And like I said, yeah, it was a lot of fun. I was supposed to come back for part two, but there was some things happened. And it just didn't work out, unfortunately. But yeah, but I mean, yeah, but I'm technically still alive in that universe. I'm technically still alive, I guess, in that universe. So I think they made it in this one where I'm like in jail or something. I don't know. I'm not. Don't quote me on that because that's not. I don't know if that's true or not. But I mean, but yeah, but yeah, the movie was really great to shoot, and they have this really great camp down there, which looks like something straight out of the '80s. You've seen the movie, I'm sure. I mean,
Oh
it
yeah.
looks something like straight out of like Friday the 13th or The Burning or Sleepaway Camp, which of course are made a big influence for that. We had a lot of great talent for that one, though. I mean, I think everybody played their roles really well, and I think the movie turned out really well. The cinematography was great. I mean, Owen does a hell of a job, and Dave and Michael. I mean, those guys are masters at raising money. I don't know how they do. They raise so much money. It's crazy. I mean, it's just. But I mean, you do good work. You get good things. I mean, that's just how it is. I mean, if your work is well liked, you are going to have you're gonna, it's gonna work out well for you. I think, unless you do something crazy, unless you piss people off or whatever kind of thing.
Oh yeah. How about the Scene Snobs podcast live? You were on their podcast as a guest. How was that?
Oh yeah, Mick's a great Mick and well, Casey was his old guy. Now he's got Aaron and Paul who help Mick. Now Mick I've known for many years, helped him get started. Great guy. I was gonna say Mick's one of my good friends. I mean I recommend that podcast to anybody. As a matter of fact, funny story. That one's going on right now with some of the people from Carolina Fear Fest. They're like our podcast for Fear Fest. So it's a small world in the
Oh
indie
yeah.
film world for sure.
Uh, there's one I'm definitely going to talk about because you recommended it to me and I watched it. We'll talk about that one in a little bit.
Okay.
Uh, let's talk about Zero. You play the henchman.
Yeah, well, that one again, I was more on the production side for it. I helped Wesley make the movie. It was have you seen it? Have you seen Zero?
I haven't. I did watch the trailer, but I haven't seen it yet.
It's on YouTube. It's on Kings of Horror YouTube channel if you ever want to check it out. It's kind of more like Zombieland, Shaun of the Dead type stuff, or more of a comedy than horror. But it was a lot. It was fun. I mean, it was got to we got the fun thing about that movie was because you need a big cast for a zombie movie. I mean, cause you need a lot of zombies, a lot of people we got to discover. Which is good. It's always good to network with people with those movies because again, you want to Yeah, because a lot of people, you don't know if they have talent or not. I mean, you don't know what they have. I mean, yeah, and a lot of times, unfortunately, people that don't know anything about, auditions or, reels or anything, it's hard for them to get started in the business because they don't know anything about that. But it's good to have stuff like this, so these new people can actually show you what they have. When you have a movie like this, and that was a lot of fun like that. And amazing enough, that movie has like, I think last I looked, like 140,000 views on YouTube. It's insane. Like it really took off or something. I mean, but again, when you watch it, you'll see what I mean. It's definitely got that no budget, cult classic, so bad it's good kind of mentality, and kind of thing going for it, I think.
Oh yeah. All right. Let's talk about Blood and Breakfast. I haven't seen that one yet neither. But just
Yeah,
take
it's
your
not on
opinion on it.
streaming yet. We still got that one on the film festival circuit. And it's a lot of that was probably one of the best experiences I've ever had on film. And I'm not just saying that because I'm not just saying that because of the people that were in it, but I mean, but it was we got to use an old bed and breakfast here in town. And basically, I always tell people the long and short of it, the movie is basically Scream meets Clue. It's kind of like a who done it, kind of thing like Clue, but it's got like the horror element like Scream, which Scream is kind of a horror who done when you think about it. I mean, it's kind of the same concept. And it was really cool to have Nancy Ann Ritter from Scream. I mean, she's a good friend of mine. Beatrice is a good friend of mine. Jim Crut is one of the greatest people you'll ever meet in your life. He's another really good friend. And I mean, we just have such a great supporting community around this area. We're very blessed to have that. I mean, because otherwise, we wouldn't be cranking out the movies we do at the quality we do. I mean, it's just, I mean, and like I said, I mean, we have a lot of great local actors too, like, Jesse Green, Rick Germain, Russell Sage Patrick, Todd Bobenrath. I mean, we have so many great people in this area. Kay Leahy, Shonda Rawlings. Just there's so many great people in this area that are really good actors. And I mean, they're just so. I mean, I hate to not name everybody because everybody's gonna be like, oh, you didn't name me, or you didn't name me, or yeah. But I mean, but I mean, yeah, everybody in that movie did a great job and did their roles very well. It's funny. The one guy, it was his first movie he ever did, was Blood Breakfast, was Travis Bruce, and he's a podcast like you. He has the Horror Prom podcast. And Travis is a cool guy too. He's out of Baltimore. So yeah, no, I mean, we had a wonderful cast and crew, and I mean, we had people like Mel Heflin and Morgan Thompson who are up and coming, scream queens in their own right. They're doing a lot of good things, and George Stover, who's been in a lot of great B movies as well. I mean, we just, I mean, everything fell into place very well for this movie, and I was very happy with the result.
Speaking of Mel Heflin, me and her in the final talks of having her come on the show.
Oh,
Yeah.
very cool. Yeah, yeah. Mel's great. She's always a lot of fun. I've known her since I first started about 10. Well, I started doing this seriously about 2013, 2014. I didn't, I mean, before that, I was still kind of in the music business doing this kind of not really, but now this is kind of more, where I've shifted to. So,
All right. Uh, all right. I'm gonna say one name. You're gonna know the movie. You already know the movie. Bone Johnson. What?
oh, yes. Yeah. My illegitimate brother. Yes. People think me and him are brothers all the time. It's actually kind of funny. Yeah. He's a character.
uh, let's talk the Legend of Crickfoot.
Well, again, that's Bones baby there. That's really, I mean, again, I thought it was a really interesting idea, and I thought it was really cool that he was trying to make a movie with all remote, where it's all remote. Like, I thought it was really cool that everybody, that's why we got, again, another one where we got a lot of cool people like Mel and Jessa Flux. And like, I mean, that movie I mean, again, it's definitely more comedy than horror, but it definitely has that whole like Bigfoot documentary vibe to it as well. And the end of it is actually for kind of a surprise. I mean, I'm sure that probably took you a little bit by surprise yourself. I mean, because
Yes.
you didn't think it was going to go in that direction at all, and I think he did a really good job ending it on that note. Instead of because again, you can only. I mean, I think he kept it just interesting enough where it wasn't one note. You know what I mean? Where as soon as it started feeling a little one note, he'd change it or whatever, and that was a very good idea on his part. But yeah, the movie's a blast. That movie definitely has cult classic written all over it. I mean, everybody that sees it has enjoyed it. It's funny, people that see it that weren't in it, like that turn it down, are all kicking themselves, wishing they were in it now. It's funny, like I mean, which is good. That's what you want. You want people to be excited for maybe even for a potential sequel. So we'll see where that goes from there. I mean, I'm sure he's going to make another one because again, the movie's definitely, it definitely caught a lot of people. That's definitely got a lot of people interested in it. So.
Oh yeah. You saw my review, right?
I have not actually. I have not watched. I was going to
Uh,
watch it after we got. I'm sorry I didn't get a chance to get to. I didn't get to it today,
oh
man. I'm
no,
sorry. I just
no need to be sorry. You're good. You're good. It's
yeah.
I'll tell you now. I rate everything 1 to 10, like I said.
Yeah.
One being worst, 10 being best. I gave it a strong 7.
Wow. Okay. Hey, that's good. I mean, that's. I mean, especially for you being a horror podcast or whatever. For and I know, like we talked about earlier. We all watch different movies. Obviously, we're not all just horror. But I mean, but it definitely. But I mean, but yeah, that's a pretty solid review. That's pretty good.
Uh,
I
uh,
will take that with a smile on my face.
so I know you got some other projects coming up. The only ones you want to give a little synopsis about that one?
Yeah, that one's on the film festival circuit as well right now. We had our official premiere in December, this past December or whatever, in Frederick, where the area which we shot the movie in Frederick, Maryland, and it was a sold out show, and into another show like the Slasher Nurse. So I mean, we got a lot of great movies coming down the pike here. I mean, people are really doing well, and Jordan Miller is just he's a really great filmmaker. I've known him for years. He was actually in the music industry when he was younger or whatever. That's where I met him when he was like a kid. But I mean, sometimes you can just tell when people are just they. I mean, he just always had a lot of talent, and I mean, the only ones is kind of like let's see, how do I put this without giving it away? It's you think when you watch it, it's going to be one way, but it's actually a completely different way. But I mean, but there's some really innovative kills in it. And I can't. I mean, we've actually just signed a streaming deal for it, so it should be out on streaming very soon. So hopefully people will get to watch. I think people are really going to be excited about this. I mean, we just signed. We just got on. Oh shit, I can't think of the name of the festival. Panic Fest, which is which is really well respected by like Dread Central and a lot of the bigger horror, sites and whatnot. So I mean, so I think it's going to be really, I think that's going to be really a huge help. And I mean, it's been doing really well all up and down the film festival circuit. We're going to be showing it in Roanoke, Virginia here soon. Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. I mean, the people that have seen it really seem to enjoy it. So I can't wait. I can't wait for you to see it.
Well, I'm definitely going to check it out.
Yeah, it's
uh,
gonna be. I think it'll be up your alley.
uh, then you got something head on the writer's block.
Yeah, so that's an anthology idea. Me and a writer friend of mine, Todd Martin, have. Todd's written a lot of stuff for like he actually helped write Shriek Show and some of the. He's actually a really cool, really good screenwriter. He helped write another new project Jordan and I are working on from the only ones, Vicious Valentines. But yeah, so Head on the Writer's Block is basically an anthology about a writer who has writer's block. He's like a novelist, like an actual author, like an
Yeah.
author who has writer's block really bad. And he's at this horror convention, and of course, he thinks he's too good for it or whatever. He thinks he's kind of the guy's kind of a dick. I'm not gonna lie. The character is kind of a dick, and he just thinks he's better than everybody or whatever. But I mean, he brings this like basically she's like a groupie, up to his room and whatnot. And I guess he brings her up for sex or whatever. But I mean, she winds up being a writer and she winds up being really good, and they wind up kind of, she tells him some stories. Basically, the stories she tells are the ones that are being acted out in the they're actually short films that are being
Okay.
acted out. So that's kind of the story we went for there. But yeah, that's going to be a lot of fun. Hopefully that'll be out in the fall, winter time of this year.
All right. And then you got there's two more I want to talk about. The Devil's Den. You play a character named Curtis.
Yeah, that's done. No, yeah, no,
No.
yeah, that's done. Yeah.
All right. And then cheerleader camp elimination.
What's that?
Cheerleader camp elimination. That's
Oh yeah, I did a remote role for that for Julianne Prescott. She's a great scream queen at it. Well, she was out of Texas. I think she's in Nevada now. I was gonna say, but yeah, Julianne's great. She has a lot of credits. Her and her boyfriend make a lot of movies. Will Colazzo, I think is his name. And yeah, I basically do. I'm voicing the mascot basically in the movie.
okay.
It was fun. It was a fun little role. But yeah, I was gonna say that should be coming out here soon this year as well. So that'll be fun if you like. Yeah, it's basically a slasher flick about the guy killing cheerleaders. I mean, you can't go wrong with that, right?
True.
Can't go wrong with it. But yeah, it's pretty cool. But yeah, I was gonna say if you don't mind, like I said, we got the other two that I'm really looking forward to here is we got the Sibylla 6, which I worked on with a girl here named Shannon Atkins, which is a true crime horror about a serial killer guy who basically it's kind of like a modern day version of Strangeland. I don't know if you remember that movie or not with Dee
Oh
Snider
yeah,
or whatever. Yeah, so it's kind of like that, only like nowadays because people have cell phones and whatnot now and what dating apps. Basically, it's like a dating app killer type movie, which
yeah.
we worked on really hard and really proud of that one too. I got to be producer and I got to play the creepy mailman guy Skip, which is pretty fun. And yeah, the one we're working on this year for like I said, Jordan and I are working on a Vicious Valentine, which is going to be a horror anthology, obviously about Valentine's Day and it going wrong. So hopefully we'll have some more stuff for that. Hopefully coming here in the next few months. So.
All right. Uh, did you want to take a little bit of time out and just? I know you've seen some of my interviews. If just want to people trying to get into the industry, what advice would you give them?
Just try really hard. Show up ready to work. Don't just I mean, and here's the thing. I mean, we all do it for fun, and if you have fun, you won't get bored with it, or you won't get mad at it. I mean, but if you're trying to be Hollywood, maybe you need to move to Hollywood or New York or one of those places if you want to try to pursue it seriously. But a lot of the stuff, if you have a good time with it, it'll always be fulfilling. So just be prepared, to do small roles or roles that nobody else wants. But I mean, but hey, that's how you build up. It's like that band, that always opens for the big band and gets booed off the stage. Well, eventually that band's going to amass a following and they're gonna do their own tours. So just don't be afraid to start at the bottom. That's all I got. That's all I can really say about that.
All right. So being in the industry for as long as you have right now, what would you go back and tell 10-year-old you back when you were 10 that you didn't know now that you know, or that you didn't know then that you know now? What would you say?
Well, I mean, I would just, obviously there'll be some people I mean, because there's a lot of, I guess scandal. I don't know if scandal's the right word, but I mean, there's a lot of con artists in this industry, and I mean, I would not work with some of them, but yeah, it's just you just got to be careful who you work with. You got to be careful who you put your time with, because people smile to your face and stab you in the back. You know what I mean? I'm sure there's just there's a lot of that going on, and I mean, you just gotta make sure you got to make sure that you're appreciated for your work. And I mean, and if they don't appreciate you, you don't need them. That's just that's probably what the thing I would take away from that.
All right. So since you love horror, who would be your top three villains in horror history?
Let's see. Top three villains. Do they have to be like the killers, or can they be just like the
Like
because
if
I would definitely say Judy from Sleepaway Camp. She was kind of a bitch. I don't like her. She was definitely a villain. She was definitely a villain. Let's see. That's a good question. I'll have to really I have to think about that one. But yeah, like I said, I didn't. I was gonna say they. I'm sure there are some other ones I could. Oh, the crew from Slaughter High that ruined that guy's that burned that guy up. I didn't like them. I was gonna say from Slaughter High or whatever. I did. They were assholes. I mean, pretty much. Pretty much anybody who makes fun of people or whatever. I mean, because there's no need for that. I mean, I don't like. Yeah, like the girl from Valentine that got the guy beat up and committed and whatnot. Didn't like her. I was just saying, that's pretty much who I don't like is the people that that they get, just get off on picking on people and whatnot because there's just no need for that.
Oh yeah. Uh, all right. So I know you got one directing credit. You want to talk a little bit about that?
I'm sorry, which credit is that? I'm sorry.
Let me pull it up real quick. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm
It's
guessing it's probably right. I'm guessing it's writer's block. I'm guessing it probably has to be writer's block. Yeah.
yep, it's writer's block.
Yeah. So I helped direct a couple of the shorts. Yeah, I helped direct like the one short, which actually we're showing next week, just as kind of like a preview for Writer's Block. It's called Just a Night in the Woods, and it's basically about these guys that kidnapped this girl who they want to be like a copycat killer to this other serial killer, and like. So yeah, it's a but yeah, I helped Jordan direct that or whatever, and it was a lot of fun. We shot it on my friend's farm, and Yeah, it was a lot of fun to actually be able to see, yeah, because again, I don't really do like a lot of camera work. My hands shake and whatnot, so I can't really do a lot of the camera work. But I always appreciated what these guys can do with that. So I mean, so yeah, that short was a lot of fun, and next hopefully I'll be able to do some more of that maybe on like Vicious Valentines and some of the other upcoming projects.
All right. All right, we got about 8 minutes left.
All right.
What would you say out of all the films you've done, everything you've produced, acted in, wrote, directed, what would you say was the most rewarding out of all of it?
They're all reward. I know this is such a cliche answer. It's such a cliche. I can hear it just coming out of my mouth. They're all rewarding in their own ways. I mean, I really enjoyed like Blood and Breakfast when that came out because that was a I mean, because that one was a really great shoot with really great people and I mean, Bloody Summer Camp was cool because I got to see myself on the big screen with professional, with the Hollywood actors. That was cool. I mean, that was pretty cool. Seeing stuff like that and. One other one I really enjoyed was that I also because it was we were making it during COVID. We didn't know if the movie was ever going to be made. It was actually a non-horror movie. It's a crime movie called Brazen Impact. And because again, it was great to sit in the theater again and see a movie that you did because again, you didn't think you were ever going to see that again. The way the world was at the time. So I mean, it's crazy to think about that kind of stuff. But I mean, but yeah, it was just and also that movie I got to play a big character in a non-horror movie. So it was cool to see something. It was cool to see, getting to see a different side of film and whatnot, and getting to do something different. So I mean, but yeah, I mean they're all rewarding, especially when you work hard. And I mean, the production side and the acting side, you get to see what you've done or whatever, and you get to see a lot of these people like Bone Johnson, people like that get to see their work on the big screen, and they just it never gets old. I mean, no matter what you do it one time or 20 times, it hasn't gotten old yet. And I don't think it ever will. So.
Oh yeah. Uh all right. There's something Stoner Snake. Let's talk
Oh
about that
yeah,
one.
it's my buddy Daryl's project. Yeah, that's coming out this year as well. Yeah. Again, I worked on that for he was looking for some help, shooting some scenes or whatever. So I did like a second unit type thing. We shot a bunch of the stuff, around this area or whatever. And my friends were really cool about that. I used Shannon Atkins, Amanda Megan, and Jesse Green, and some folks like that or whatever. And it was really fun to actually like I said, I mean that movie's going to be a lot of fun. It's probably again, it's a very very much a comedy horror, mockumentary type movie or whatever. But that should be good. I can't wait to see when that actually comes out. We should be getting a trailer here for that pretty soon. Actually, I think it's coming out on 420 because of course it is, right? Of course it would be. But yeah. But yeah, my buddy, that's my a friend of mine, Daryl Hook out of Michigan, did that movie. Daryl's a good guy too.
Hey, that's where I'm at, Michigan.
No, no kidding. Well, you guys should meet up.
Hey, maybe. I mean, I'm all for it. As long as it's the industry, I'm all for it.
There we go. There we go.
Uh, so I didn't review Remnants because I knew you were coming on.
Okay.
So I'm gonna give you my rating for that movie live. Well,
Okay.
like with you. But before I give you the rating, I just want to kind of go over. Let's see, we got about 4.5 minutes.
Yeah, you can give me the Cliff's Notes or whatever kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Acting good, surprising ending, shocking moments, and like cinematography and everything was good. The rating I give it is going to be pretty much around a 7.5.
Cool.
And the reason I give it a 7.5 is, well, the head hammer scene pretty much gave it a 7. Then everything else just gave it. You know what I'm saying?
Right. No, it's. I mean, that is definitely a cool scene. And like I said, yeah. And again, I know the movie is definitely a little. I know it's a little different than a lot of paranormal movies. I know it's definitely kind of off the beaten path a little bit. So I mean, so we understand that. We understand that or whatever. I know there was a lot of interesting stuff in that or whatever. I mean, like the one kind of girl demon who was naked or whatever. I mean, again, don't mean spoiler alert or whatever. But yeah, no, we're definitely. I mean, it was definitely definitely a lot of. I mean, that movie was cool. I mean, I definitely, but yeah, there's a lot of people that don't really understand it. I don't think either. It's because it's there's a lot of different. I mean, it's just strange how it came. But I was gonna say, but I really like that you liked it so much. That's really cool. I mean, 7.5 is a very good review. So I mean, I mean, again, because I've gotten 0-star reviews of my movies or whatever. So anything over a 5, yay! Yeah.
Oh yeah. Uh, all right. I just want to thank you, Matt, for coming on.
Oh, thank
Spending.
you, bud. This was a lot of fun. Thank you again for having me on. I mean, anytime.
Oh yeah. Once you're a guest on NC-17, I tell everybody you have a home with NC-17. You want to come on to promote something? You want to come on just to say, hey, you got a booger in your nose? Feel free.
All right, man. Good to know. Good to know. Yeah. All right, man. Good to know. But yeah, okay, bud. Well, it was great. It was great meeting you, and can't wait to hopefully collaborate with you more in the future.
Oh yeah, most definitely. All right.
All right, take it easy.
You too. Everybody stay NC-17.